All right, so
Okay.
today we are joined on this question and answer by Robert Legaré and in a couple of moments, perhaps also Vince Comtois of ATP Labs, ATP Lab Canada. Uh, they're one of the best supplement manufacturers in Canada, and they're now, I believe you're completely global now.
Yep. Selling worldwide. They just this morning we had some order from Malaysia, from Australia, so we're selling worldwide right now. Yep.
Okay, so Robert was one of Charles's kind of trusted supplement manufacturers, one of Charles's close friends. They did multiple different avenues of business together in terms of supplements, everything from ATP Labs itself being used for metabolic analytics, bioprint, biosignature, whichever one you want to call it this week. Also, the Strength Sensei Black Belt series of supplements. So Robert's been in our network for, I'm even going to say, as long as I've probably been alive, he's been around Charles and various people. So, Robert, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself and ATP Lab?
Yeah. So ATP Lab was launched. We can say like with Vince, we're talking about different supplement company. We were looking at several companies selling high quality supplement and without any branding. We're talking about high. We know all the high-end brand right now, and we said, okay, there's no branding, and everybody's got branding, got nothing in their jar. So maybe we can do like a merge. So the idea started from there, and then we've launched 3 products, then 4th, then a 5th, and everything goes on right like that. And we were, like working on to launch, to be a Canada-wide supplement company in 2015. And then Charles reached out to us asking, okay, maybe we can work together because I would like to have, a performance company to have some performance supplement for my athlete. And then overnight, Charles joined us and we became a worldwide company. So really overnight. So after just a couple of meetings, a couple of phone calls, Charles joined in and just put a YouTube video with our growth factor product, which is a dopamine booster product. And we've sold like crazy. And then Charles asked us to produce a line of supplement for the Strength Sensei line, and he designed the first 3 products. And everything went, like crazy. We've started with 3 products. We had discussion with Charles that he would like to have several other products in the line, and it didn't went through because since he's passed away, nothing I've done with this line right now. So, and we decided to do the high-end supplements since the beginning. So several times we have some issue with ingredients, some raw material. We want this quality, and we go back order. Like right now, we are back ordering several ingredients because with the COVID, several manufacturers can't provide us, the material we need to produce, the quality we need, and the quality of the product we need. So we just ran out of several ingredients right now, and we are back order like, I can't remember, like 10 or 11 products right now. Just the EAs, we don't have any EAs right now. It was a rupture. We didn't have access to anything right now. So we'll wait for the product to come in and then we'll manufacture. We know of several companies that what they will do. They will definitely go shortcut and take something else or less quality or whatever. So, but we wait for the good one.
So one question that I've been asked a couple of times over the last probably year is if I knew what was going to go on with the Black Belt series itself, if it was still going to become available, if it was going to be drawn into a practitioner-only type brand, or if it was just going to be amalgamated into the rest of the regular ATP Labs brand.
Yeah, what will happen right now, we had some discussion with Crystal Mother. And we will drive the line to a practitioner line right now. So it will be for metabolic analytic practitioner, bioprint, biosignature, whatever, doctor, naturopath, or whatever certification you can have. It will be dedicated to practitioner, and we will add some product in it. So the line will, we'll try to have like 6 other product in the next 12 months, something like that. In Canada, it's complicated a bit because you need to have some NPN and then blah, 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 whatever you can say. And Vince is trying to call me. And we want to increase the brand and to have it because people are, they are attached to the brand. They got good result. The yin reserve for people who have, problem sleeping is nearly magical. The quarter mag is it's incredible magnesium formulation, and the omega from the omega drive, it's quite unique, and people I think don't understand. People are used to take like 10, 12 capsule soft gel of omega-3, and they don't understand that with this one you only need to take 3. So it's it's a bit confusing for them probably because they were used like for the last 10 years to take 12 soft gel of omega per day, but with the monoglyceride you only need to take 3 because you absorb it. So it's a kind of unique technology.
All right, so we're now joined with Vincent Comtois, also of ATP Labs, also from Quebec, Canada. So Robert just gave a little bit of a rundown of ATP Labs itself, as well as the Black Belt series. So let you introduce yourself now, Vince, now that you finally were able to get in here.
Yes, thank you. My name is Vincent Comtois. Like you said, I'm the co-owner with Robert and Steve, who's not there today, of ATP Lab. And I'm in charge of R&D and formulation as well. So I'm there to answer your questions.
All right, so a couple of the other questions that people have asked, not necessarily right here in the group, but in general when it comes to ATP Labs, is where you source your raw ingredients. Because some of the other product lines that practitioners use are exclusive, whereas ATP Labs are available within some retail stores. Not all, but some. So the question that comes up is the raw ingredient quality and sourcing of it. Robert touched on it that you're not going to scrimp on the quality. So maybe Vince, you can kind of talk about a little bit how you formulate it based on the raw ingredients. And in the event that one ingredient necessarily is no longer available, how you reformulate so that it falls into line of being very high quality while still being, for lack of a better term, legal to use and passing, like, because us here in Canada, we have the hardest regulations on supplements compared to the US. So how you can kind of discuss how you get around working with that.
We are very strict to qualify a new supplier. So we need to have lab tests on every single raw materials we use. Also for, the fillers. We test everything from the capsules, from the fillers to the raw materials we use for the formulation. And whoops, sorry.
The joys of live.
I just touched a button there. Okay, and for the raw materials, exactly, we also need a COA from the company before we order the raw materials. And when the raw materials come in the facility, we do another test to be sure that the quality we ask for is exactly what we receive. So it looked like something very, non-specific and very easy, but a lot of companies don't do that. They just ask for COA, and they believe what they say on the COA, and they use the raw material without testing it for the quality and the purity and the efficacy of the products. So this is why we use a lot of trademark, because like KSM 66 for ashwagandha, because they do a lot of research on this specific ingredient before they release it on the market, and we have this standardization to be sure that the product
if you got the efficiency that we need.
The efficiency of the products at the dosage we put in the formulation. So if we are able to always use the same supplier, it's always the same we use, because when we choose another one, we need to do a lot of research and we need to do a lot of tests and everything to be sure that the quality is always the same. It's a long run to have everything from both sides. So from our labs, from the supplier and everything, to be sure that the product is very exactly what we want. So it's the job of Bob to Bob do the qualification of every single supplier we have. And now we have 5 to 6, to correct me, Bob, if I'm not right.
Yeah, we have reduced
that much, suppliers, because a lot of them are not able to satisfy our quality standards.
Yeah.
So
they can qualify with the quality we need. So we don't want to, let's say, change supplier from supplier just to have a better pricing. We stick to one when you find a good one, the quality we need, and then we stick to it, and we stay with that. The best example we can have, you see a lot of product using DIM, and Vince can talk to you about the DIM bioresponse. It's not just the best that you can find on the market right now, but it's the most expensive. You can buy some DIM from China. I'm receiving some pricing that's are incredible, something like $25, $26 a kilo, and the bioresponse DIM, it's $925, $100 a kilo. So it's a bit crazy.
All right. So yeah, that's good to know about the DIM though. So one of the other things when it comes to product sourcing is your New Zealand whey protein. A lot of people don't actually understand the difference between New Zealand whey. I remember I talked to you, Robert, back in when I first met you in 2016 for what was at the time Bioprint, and you were discussing just how expensive it really is to source a high quality whey protein.
Yep. And crazy thing we found out, we started using New Zealand whey protein because it was like a trend. The quality and everything, the sourcing, and how the cattle is raised and everything. And we just found out, crazy, because we're kind of in a environmental turning right now. The New Zealand whey, even the isolate or concentrate, whatever, what we found out is that you can find the same quality over here in North America. So without having, a large boat going through New Zealand, through Canada and everything, and, it's a bit weird. So last year we found out we went to reorder some, actually some New Zealand isolate from Fonterra, which they are the only one who supply it. And they sent us a COA, and just before the order arrived, we saw the COA, and the biochemist he said, "Hey, it's not the same number than usual." So the isolate was called the 894, and usually we receive an isolate was called 895. So we asked the guy at Fonterra, why is the number has changed? He said, "Oh, because now it's a different one. The other one we don't send it anymore." And we went to the tech sheet, and Vince found out, and it was a ions exchange protein, and we were used to have a cold process one. And then we said, okay, so what's going to happen? He said, "Oh, we don't export anymore the cold process one." So we were caught in the process and just ordering isolate and with the same number, and then they changed it. So we had to turn around and find a cold process filtered here in North America, and we find one. It's a grass-fed, cold process whey protein isolate. So we had this discussion with Fonterra, And even with the vice president of Fonterra North America, we had this phone call and telling them we can't do that anymore because you don't sell us the same product we used to have. So that's what happened with when we've changed for the grass-fed isolate when we changed it last year.
This is why we changed the name also.
Yeah.
We changed the name from NZE to ISO because this is not NZE anymore, but here in North America now with the demand, they turn around things and they are able to do some grass-fed high quality whey protein now. So we will save the travel from New Zealand to here and a lot of gas and everything, and we will save a bit of money at some point, and we will transfer it to our customers. So at some point it's going to be less expensive for the same quality.
And we have with those third-party analysis, and this is where we found out that it's a recombine free, it's a antibiotic free, the cattle don't receive any vaccine and everything. So we found out with the COA we received from the third-party lab that it was a higher quality than that we used to have before. Even if it's coming from North America. So there was the trend, there was the marketing around the Fonterra one, the New Zealand thing. But now with we don't want to leave with the carbon footprint. We try to have different choices when it comes down to supplier. Same thing. Vince will talk about it, but we are in the move right now to change some sizing of the jar, because you have some big jars. You go to stores, it's just to have some shelf space, but the jars is half empty. You have 2 kilo jars in an 8-liter jar that can fit in nearly like 4 liter. So we will have several changes coming on right now to use less plastic. It's
the same marketing that be used by the chip industry. At some
the
point.
potato chip, yeah.
So a lot of space is empty and a lot of plastic. We will save around 50% of the plastic for a certain size of protein products. So at some point, it's a no-brainer for us for the environment and everything to cut on this. But for sport nutrition industry, it's pretty special. Marketing at some point, big jars equal big muscles, big result. So we need to figure it out the way to introduce it. But you will see at some point that the 1 kilos go through after the size with the same quantity of protein in it. So another thing I want to say about the DIM, which we cut off and go through the NZE, it's the bioresponse DIM. It's the only DIM that be tested and published on PubMed that have results on estrogen metabolism. It's the only one that you be able to absorb and don't convert to indole 3-carbinol and maybe in waste product that can be toxic at some point. So DIM, it's very popular, but there's the only one is bioresponse DIM. It's micro-encapsulated in phospholipids to be able to pass the digestive system to be absorbed as is. And that way, it will not convert to indole 3-carbinol and cannot be converted as a waste in your digestive system and can be toxic. So if you go to PubMed and you enter DIM, the only good science you have behind DIM, it's on bioresponse. And this is why the product is so expensive. Estro control, it's not cheap, but we use only good with back science raw ingredients to do it. And for example, the Estro control have 3 trademarks ingredient in it in one formulation. So it's always this, the rational behind the formulation is always to be able to be backed by science. So we will look at PubMed. We work with our chief scientist, Dwayne Jackson, is able to have all the data from university directly. There's more data there than just published on PubMed. So we always do this math to be able to, okay, we want to have that kind of results. Is it working or is it just marketing? Because at some point, marketing is very, very, popular in sport nutrition, but we work with guys like you that, more like a strength coach and everything, and you are more like a professional to need to have results with athletes and everything. So results are very important for us. So we don't sell, fairy dust or something like, special price with a cheap product to be able to do a marketing behind something. We always do the math to have science-based raw ingredients and formulation. So it's our work. It's harder to do that because at the end the product is more expensive and we need to do more education. But it's the way we build this company from scratch 10 years ago, and we're doing well on the market because guys like you understand the difference of it, and you are able to recommend the products the right way with the right dosage and everything. This is why we do this live today, because we always want to be sure that everything is well understood. And that's it. It's a good example. The DIM we can have for $25, like Bob said, and we always pay $900+ to have this bio response because it's the only one backed by science. It's a good example.
Yeah, so that's a good point, as well as the environmental point, especially in today's climate of single-use plastics. Everyone's starting to think, oh, don't use single-use plastics, with the exception of right now during COVID. They made a roaring comeback. But going to the smaller bottle sizes, that makes more sense. It also makes more sense for like those gym owners that are watching. So if you're able to store and get more in a shipment, and overall your shipment's going to end up costing less, you're then going to have, and you can have more on the shelf. Well, you've got a bigger inventory and less space, so you're able to do either less shipments, save both sides, the shipping and handling, and you're also able to have that inventory for your clients or yourself in some of our cases. One great thing that ATP Labs has definitely gone through in the last, I believe it was about 2 years ago, that you guys went through and finished with the informed choice certification for sports. And I know for some of the people I deal with, like you guys actually sponsor one girl who I've trained, Farah Jacques, and she was always, I had told her back in 2013 to look at the line, but because of drug testing, athletes were a little hesitant. And then as soon as you got it, and she started taking, at first, the first thing I had her take was just Cinermag, because she wasn't sleeping. And then I was like, okay, now email them and talk to them and get to know them a little bit better, because you're a Quebec athlete, you're an Olympian, you're the prime person for them to now reach out to and market to. And she loves the products. Not just the taste, but also as soon as she was taking Cinermag, she loved how she was sleeping better.
Yeah, we are an informed choice facility, so we have regulation for making every single products, and we have those performance products that are informed sports. So every single batch are tested for banned substance. There's 220 substances that be tested to not be in the product. So it's very, very safe and it's very accurate testing. So all the performance products are informed sports, and the very popular one like Cinermag, Total Defense, Zinc as well. And yeah, it's a good thing because we have a lot of very high-end athletes as clients, and a lot of them have regular drug testing. So it's a no-brainer for them. They can go to the website of Informed Sport and look at the lot number they have in their hands and saw all the results out there. So it's very, very easy for them to see if the product they have, that they've really been tested by a third party like Informed Sport. So it's a good thing. Yeah, we are very, very proud of it.
And people don't
That's
really...
something that's...
No, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, Rob, you go ahead.
Yeah, that, for the informed choice, people don't really know exactly, but you know, they test. Their test is really, I can say, severe, because you know, they told us when they came here, they come randomly 2 times a year, and they swab the lab, they swab the warehouse, they swab everywhere. They're taking you know, register of the raw material we have. They told us that they can find the amount. Sorry. It's okay. They can find
I'm good.
like a teaspoon of banned substance in an Olympic pool. So you cannot you know, have anything, you know, get through there without having any detected or something like that. So it's quite, we're proud to be able to do that, because we are an informed choice facility, like Vince said. So here we are a banned substance free facility. So there's no banned substance that can enter here. So we cannot do like we were asked a couple of years ago to do something like that, you know, with nootropic, like Piracetam or something like that for a third party. So we cannot do that. So it's not, we cannot, it's impossible to have it done over here. So it's a good thing. A lot of athletes are, you know, we have a couple of people that were, you know, drug tests and from other company, and they didn't pass the drug test, so they got back to us and coming to make sure they were okay. So we have several.
Yes, that's something that's that's something that's very important. Like, we're moving into 2021. The Olympics were supposed to be going on a couple of weeks ago, but they've now been postponed to next year. And for any coaches dealing with athletes, or any athletes who end up seeing this, if you're taking supplements, anything you put into your body at the end of the day is your responsibility.
Yep.
If the PMA comes knocking, whether it's CCES in Canada, USADA in the US, anything that's accredited through the World Anti-Doping Agency, when they come knocking and you have to supply that test, you can't use the excuse of, I didn't know what was in my product. So having a product that is informed choice certified can put your mind at ease, because you know the product, not just the product was tested, but the entire facility is tested. And that's something that's good to know when it comes to ATP labs, is that it's not just that they come in and they take one small sample. They actually go through. And just for you to get that, it's an expensive process for the company. So it's
really
not
expensive, yeah. It's expensive. And you know, there's another thing. They do random tests. They ask, you know, every batch, we need to send 2 samples of everything we produce that is informed choice certified. But they will purchase, you know, randomly. We receive, and they charge us. We receive invoice saying, okay, we have tested this and this and this product randomly, and you're okay. Because, you know, you can do, there's a lot of people doing that. They produce stuff, have it sent to analysis, the one they decide to, so not the full batch. So they do a small amount, send it to analyze, and this is what they show you. We saw it so on a regular basis. We have a file here with product from other company claiming they have high quality product, and they don't have half the ingredient they are claiming on the label. So we don't show it, but we try to understand. Sometimes people selling product, you know, nearly the same that we have at, you know, 20-25% less, and we say, how can they do that? So we have the product come over here and we test it. So we found sometimes they don't have half of the ingredient they are claiming, or pesticide level is high, heavy metal is high, so it's coming from other sources that we don't know where.
So something that everyone would like to know is future formulations from ATP. What can we, not just as coaches and practitioners and consumers, what can we expect to see in the either next short little while from ATP Labs in terms of new formulations? And what is the kind of long-term goal for ATP Labs in terms of formulations? Like, if you could give like something for people to really look forward to as a product that's coming out, and if you're comfortable letting the coaches know about it now, what can we look forward to?
We're gonna have 3 new products for Strength Sensei Black Belt Series line. One is gonna be for the systemic inflammation. It's a very specific anti-inflammatory products for systemic inflammation to reduce at the same time cortisol and inflammation. It will balance the NRF2 and NF-kappa B pathway. So it's going to be very effective to decrease inflammation, increase the capacity to recuperate faster, and prevent heart disease and everything. We do this formulation, this idea of this formulation with Charles before he passed away. So we want to launch this product. And another one is going to be a very effective B complex with all the active ingredients with high dosage of B vitamins for the nervous system and everything. So to support the methylation pathways and everything. So, and the last one is going to be a pre-workout with nootropics in it. So it's going to be a very effective brain driving, before your workout to increase strength and power and everything. So there's 3 very exciting products. We work on those formulations for 3 years now. So we have the NPN and everything right now. So the next step is going to be to do the labels and everything. So it's pretty soon. We will launch certainly one of them before the end of the year. So this is the part more exciting because those 3 formulations are very, very interesting. So we will be very excited to have your feedback on them when it's going to be on the market. And for ATP Lab, what is going to be next? It's less exciting, but it's going to be a reformulation for some formulation, like hepatic defense. We have a 3.0, 2.0 formulation with, some tweak on it. We will put, wasabi. That's got a lot of good research on wasabi for liver detoxification. So it's going to be like that. We're going to have a new glucose control as well, with a little tweak to put it in a more efficient formulation for glucose control. And we're going to have new flavors and everything. So there's no very new things for ATP because we have a lot of things going on. We'll continue to do the education on it. And one thing come in my mind, it's the stressless will change to a more specific products to decrease cortisol at the end of the day. So it's going to be to control the nervous system, but it's going to be very effective to decrease cortisol. So you have the adrenergic RM, the new formulation that replaces adrenergic. It's more like a stimulating but more focused nootropic aspect of adaptogens formulation put on the beginning of the day, and we're gonna have the opposite formulation to calming down at the end of the day. So it's gonna be a AM formulation and a PM formulation. So it's gonna be the new stressless. You're gonna see it maybe for December, something like that, because we wait for the NPN. It's always the same. It's pretty long here in Canada because it's L Canada. So we need to be patient. And at this time with the COVID and everything, it's just take longer. So what takes 6 months before, it's a year now. So we need to be patient.
Yeah, and the EA are back order. Yeah, right now the EAs are back orders, and when they'll come back, so we finally got work with the supplier to have it fully vegan. So for non-vegan like us, it's not a big game changer, but there's a word game changer name there. But for the vegan, it's really important. So right now, what we had, the blend we had was 7 out of 9 that were vegan. So there was 2 that were non-vegan, but right now it's going to be a fully vegan EAs, working on flavors, working on different, a couple of things to have a better product, still have a better product. So there's about that. We will have a second flavor for the Supreme Beef Protein also, which is going to be the first one to be resized with the smaller jars. That's going to launch like in a couple of weeks right now.
All right, so like that's really good for all practitioners and coaches to look forward to. So as we close this out, what I'd like each of you to kind of do is if you could give one tip each. They can't be the same. Vince is going to go first for this one since how he was late to the party. Is if you could give one tip first for people to look for supplementation-wise, what would it be?
The devil's is in the details, like we said often. So we need to pay attention of every single details on a products. There's a lot of very fancy formulation with probability blend and everything that look good on the label, but when you go to the non-medicinal ingredients, sometimes you see like 6 to 7 ingredients with different artificial colors, fillers, sucralose, and everything. The question I ask you, why, if I'm oriented on results and health and quality, I will scrap, at some point my formulation with those very cheap and bad thing in the formulation. So at some point, if you saw that kind of non-medicinal ingredient on a label, you can see directly that, this company is not oriented on quality at all. Because we know that sucralose is cheaper, it tastes better and everything, but it's not good for your gut health. So I saw some probiotic powders with sucralose in it at some point. So it's pretty weird, but it's that kind of market we live in. So if you look at the raw material, not the raw materials, and the non-medicinal ingredient, and you saw something like, artificial colors and sweeteners and everything, you already saw this company is just there to sell products to make profit, and they do the game of quality with their speech, but they don't walk the talk at some point. Mm-hmm. So this is the main thing.
Vince is number. Yeah. So Vince is number one. Take a look at the non-medicinal ingredients section of the ingredient label. It'll tell you another bigger story. Now, Robert, your one tip for supplementation-wise that you would give somebody right now.
Yeah, well, just don't be fooled by marketing. We see so many companies selling dreams. So they're selling you dreams, and you look at everything, or they don't have what they say on the label. They don't put it in the jar, or they just, like Vince was saying earlier, fairy dust. They just put small amount, ineffective dosage of ingredient. So you need to have the right amount of some ingredient, and as much money as you put on marketing, you don't put it in the jar. So if you, let's say you spent I don't know, $10 million in marketing, you don't put that amount of money in your raw ingredients. Or if you were everywhere, I remember earlier, in the 90s, there were some company, they were in every magazine you can imagine, not just bodybuilding. They were in cycling, they were in golf, they were everywhere. The best example, just not to name them, is Gatorade. So they have protein powder, they have so many stuff in it. So they put a lot of money in marketing. So the original Gatorade was a great idea, but it's not that anymore. It doesn't exist anymore.
The original was great.
Yeah.
Like
it wasn't tasting that good. It wasn't tasting that good, but it was effective.
Yeah. All right. So I'd like to personally thank both of you for coming on and spending a little even extra time than originally planned. So for those who want to learn more about ATP Labs, you can go to their website, which will also be included below, but it's just atplabs.ca or
atplab.com.
Oh, I still type
couple of
in
years.
and it works.
No, it's redirect, but we've purchased all the domain, but it's atplab.com right now.
Okay, that's good to know for myself. So their website is www.atplab.com.
Thank you for this opportunity to be able to put a face on the company. It's just, we need at some point to
Yeah.
you know, let people know who's behind this, the formulation and everything, and what is our mission as a company. And we are very proud that Charles chose us to do his thing at some point, and we'll continue the legacy for sure, and give you back with a lot of good products and good education as well. So it's going to be our pleasure to do that.